So what is going on, guys? Pits93 here with another video, and I was just scrolling through Twitter seeing what you guys had to say about my last video, so that's awesome. So if you guys want to give me a follow there, I'll put it down here for you guys to give me a follow. We've been growing on there pretty nicely, but the video that I want to talk about today is iPadOS 13.5 GM, so basically the final version before the public release of an iPadOS update was released yesterday, and I wanted to give you guys a little overview of what's new, what to expect, and some of the major updates that came out with it. There weren't many, even though it is a 13.5 iteration. And the last point something iteration that we got was the mouse support, and that was an epic update. This one isn't going to be nearly as exciting, but there is some cool stuff in there for you guys to watch, so here we go, guys. Okay guys, so let's talk a little bit about iPadOS 13.5 GM. So basically what that means is that is going to be the final version before it is released to the public. So definitely expect a finalized version for the public within the next few days for everybody to get 13.5, both for their iOS device and their iPadOS device. But I definitely wanted to touch on a couple other things at first, just to kind of show you guys that it's more than just that one update. So to begin with, I'm not an Apple Music user, so this is not new to me because I'm a Spotify guy at heart. But I downloaded Apple Music just to show you guys that you can now share directly from Apple Music to Instagram. So if you guys have ever seen people's Instagram stories and it shows, you know, the album art and a song that they're playing, you can even put music in the background. Now you can do the same thing with Apple Music and Instagram. So that's a nice little touch for those Apple Music users that want to show off what they're playing on Instagram and not just take a screenshot. Another really big one that's been added for all Face ID enabled devices. So now that everybody's out and about, they have their mask on. So Face ID does not work when you have a mask on. So what that means is usually you have to swipe up a couple times, like let the Face ID correct itself and say like, oh, hey, we can't recognize your face, and then put in a PIN code, but that usually requires 2 or 3 swipes up. So now automatically, so I'm gonna show you guys. So now what I'm going to show you guys is, you can clearly see that I have a mask on, as you can see. So what I'm going to try to do is unlock the iPad with Face ID with the mask on, and then you guys will see that it won't let me do it, obviously, because it doesn't recognize my face. So all I have to do is swipe up, and then it automatically knows that I have a mask on, and you can just put in your passcode right then and there and then log in. Versus before, you have to swipe up a couple times and then press in the middle of the screen to allow for the PIN code input to actually start working. So that's a nice touch that Apple has been needing to do for all their Face ID devices. On the other hand, with an iPhone SE, Touch ID, you're golden with mask on and everything, guys. Another big one during these times, you know, now that everybody's FaceTiming each other and doing virtual happy hours and virtual meetups, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you run a FaceTime call and you have multiple people on there, the person that's talking usually gets magnified in that square piece. I'll put a little B-roll on top just to kind of show you what that looks like. But now what you can do is turn that feature off and just have everybody be the same exact size depending on the screen that you have. And that's called automatic prominence. So basically, it's by default, it's left on. And what that means is that, again, it enlarges the person that's speaking so you know who's speaking, especially if you're in a large group. But you do have the ability to turn that off right from the settings section. So all you have to do is go into settings, down to FaceTime, and then scroll to the bottom, and there it is. I like to keep it on because I do like that feature, but I know it annoys a lot of people. There was also a big issue when it came to this crazy text message that people kept getting, and also in the comments of people's YouTube videos where it automatically made your phone crash. So that's been automatically fixed, and that's good to go. And then the last thing that's been updated on the iPad itself, but for some reason didn't show up on the changelog for the iPhone, was that more security patches have been done within the native Mail app. It also stops this bug from happening that continued to make the Mail app crash. Again, I'm not a native Mail user anymore. I now use Spark for all my day-to-day Mail client activities for personal use. So I'm not in that boat, but just so you guys know, that update was added to iPadOS, but was not on the changelog for iOS, but I do assume that it's the same exact thing. And that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. That's all the major updates from an iPadOS perspective. I didn't really touch on the COVID-19 updates because that's very iOS focused, and we don't get HealthKit on the actual iPad itself, so it doesn't apply to the iPad and any iPadOS iterations moving forward because there is no COVID-19 exposure update for the iPad. So that's what I wanted to keep it like that, and I didn't really mention it for the 13.5 update, even though that's the main reason why it's being rolled out for iOS and every iPhone user pretty much on the planet at this point. So, but that's gonna do for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, I'll be down there, kind of answering some of your questions if you guys do have some. And that's gonna do it for this video. So until next time, guys.